Alright, hello guys, and welcome to the second part of my Todoroki work vlog. This is the accessories portion. So if you haven't seen how to make his jumpsuit outfit, then click the little button right there to watch it. Alright, so let's get started in this portion. So as you can see right now, I am just using some craft foam. I had bought some little webbing netting, so that was 2 inches. Originally I was going to use that as well, but I didn't end up needing it, so I just used the craft foam. I cut it 2 inches wide since that's how big I wanted the belt to be on me. Just find the correct sizing that you would like as well. And make sure it fits as well. You want to cut off all the excess that doesn't work, because we are going to be adding a buckle to it. That's how it attaches. So once I had like my belt cut out, the length that I needed, the width that I needed, I ended up just making a little bit of patterns for his pieces on the belt. He does have 3 different types of designs. He has the buckle in the middle, that's on the front and the back. Then he has the 2 side plates that connect to it. They both have like little bolts on it. And then on the side of his belt, he has this longer pattern, a longer piece that has like grates in it. I don't know what any of these things are for, but they're there. And in between the plates with the bolts on them and those longer ones, there is like a little bit of gap where his canisters go. So just make sure you do that. I think I don't even know how big I made these things, to be honest. I just took like the length of the belt, and then like I divided it up from the side portion, since I knew those were going to be the bigger section. And then from there I was like, it's even, so I can just kind of cut the other pieces in half. So I made 2 of like those longer portions on the side pieces, and then like I cut from there. I was able to like figure out how much length I had left, and then from there I made the other front pieces. And then I had googly eyes for the bolts on them. Pretty easy. And I just used the googly eyes to make sure that it looked like the right sizing, that they didn't look too small or too big on them. And once that was done, I cut them out. And then for this one, I used Pearly Warbler. It's very interesting. It's very smooth. I like it for the smoothness, but it does cool down very fast, so you have to like work in very small sections. So if you're going to use Warbler, I would suggest using the black Warbler, for reasons later on that I will explain in the video. But yeah, so that's what I'm using. So you're just gonna be covering basically everything in a Warbler. And then all I'm doing is just folding over the edges. And then in this section, I am making sure that the googly eyes are lining up with the plates. I'm going to call these like plate B, so you guys know. So middle buckle will be A, these sections will be B, and the other ones will be C. So as you can see, they're just rounded off on the corners with some googly eyes on them. Pretty simple. And then you just cover them in Warbler. I used the sandwich method, where it means you use one on the front, and then you do it on the back side as well. And here's the buckle. The buckle is 2 layers, so it had 1 flat layer, and then I cut out little pieces so it had like that indentation on it as well. To make sure I had the details of the googly eyes, I used a pen. I used like the cap of it, or I don't know how you call it, to press around so the details were showing through. Alright, and here I am showing you, and here I am just adding on the front pieces. As you can see, I already connected the buckle to it. The buckle is connected with like a little bit of the webbing strap, and then I just used contact cement to glue it down to the foam. If you use it on the Warbler, it will not work. It's not gonna adhere to it, so you have to make sure you have the foam showing for the netting to connect to the foam. And then I just added on the buckle, so you just sew them down. Here I am heating up the front part of the belt so it shapes around the buckle, so it has a concave look to it, because that is where the buckle A is gonna go. Make sure you have references on what everything looks like. Have very detailed oriented ones. I had ones from the anime and from the manga that I was looking at, to make sure I knew where everything went. And so how this happens is, so buckle A and one of the buckle B pieces are gonna be connected together with Warbler, and then the last one is not going to connect. You're going to leave a little bit of indentation space for buckle A to have room to rest. And it's storming. I'm sorry if you can hear that. Just mess around with it to make sure you kind of see, and like just mess around with it. Honestly, that's how you're going to figure out how you like it. And as you can see in the back, these are all connected, so only 2 of the pieces are going to be connected for the front. And I also made just a little bit of a test canister so I could see how everything was going to look together. The belt is the most complicated part of the outfit, just because everything has to be uniformed and in place and have to have equal measurements in order for it to look right. But everything after this is a breeze. And this is what the belt should look like when most of it is attached. I have half the belt pretty much done, so you can see what I mean, how there's little gap spaces. And you can see how I ripped up portions of the Warbler there because I put it in the wrong spot. So you gotta make sure everything is in place before you adhere it down with the heat gun. And as you can see, the web connection there. I go in and glue it down even more. It's not that loose, but just because I was working back and forth, it came undone a little bit. So there you go. That's what it should look like. And that little piece right there, how it's not connected, you can always add just a little bit of Velcro right there so it connects in. And make sure to get them to fit to your body, you just wear it. And just press it to your skin. Be careful because it is hot, but that's pretty much just how you get it to form to your hips. I don't show it, but in between these pieces, I do add a piece of Warbler where the canisters will connect onto them. I never show. It's just a strip of Warbler, and that was mainly to cover up the hole that I left. So for the canisters, I used, I think it was the size of the googly eyes, the big googly eyes I used for the harness. And then I just kind of cut out, I think it was about 5 of circle pieces of EVA foam. And then I glued them together with contact cement, and then I wrapped craft foam over it so it's all nice and smooth on the outside. Created a little triangle top, cone top, that's what it's called, a cone top, and then covered it all in Warbler. As you can see, I already did some of the connection pieces. So to do the connection, the bigger loops, I just rolled up some Warbler scraps and then fed it through. And then for the little connections onto the canisters, you have to leave an open hole so they can slide it through as well. I don't like that method. They fall off. At least with the Pearly Warbler, they do not adhere very strongly at all. So you're gonna need to drill a hole in it instead at the top of it, so it has a sturdier connection point. If you're using Black Warbler, you could probably do the method where you just smack it down on top of it, and it probably will work, but just because it's a small area, it doesn't like to stay put very well. Alright, and now onto the back harness piece. I don't have a good method on how to do this. I just took two pieces of paper and taped them together, and then measured the top part of my shoulder to how far down I want it from the middle of my back. So I did that across, and then I drew out a straight line, and then I just cut out the pattern. From there, I just decided how big, how curved everything was going to be and whatnot. And then I'm just cutting it out of craft foam as well. Folding pieces over allows to make it's a smart way to do it, because both sides will be even. It's gonna be the same. And again, I'm just adjusting it to make sure it still fits pretty well on my back. Again, make sure you have your reference picture up on how things are supposed to look. Don't go into it without looking at them. So here I'm just figuring out the googly eye placements, how high, how everything looks. And then I'm just using contact cement to glue them down. Here I'm adding in the little grape pieces. So I'm just taking a pin and I'm just kind of pressing down really hard to create the lines. That's all you do. Then you're going to cover everything in Warbler. Again, just using the cap of the pen and pressing down for all the detail. And then you just kind of wrap it around the excess. Cut off a majority of the excess and then just wrap around like the last bit of pieces to it. And then again, just really pressing in to create the grates on it. This is kind of hard. To get this to shape to your back, you are going to need a second person. So just find a friend or family member and tell them to press this hot piece of plastic to your back and wait till it cools down. That way you have the shape molded to your back. Alright, hi guys, so just a little bit hazy because I lost all the footage from like after that point. So I'm going to show you what I did right here for you guys, because it's very simple, it's very straightforward, but I just don't have the footage to show you guys how I got to this end piece because my camera deleted it. I guess it's nowhere to be found anymore. So let's start with the gauntlet because that's the easiest thing that we left off at, because this is a little bit more complicated. For the harness, is actually two separate pieces. You can actually do this a couple different ways. This is just the way that I ended up doing it, the way that it made a lot more sense in my brain. So first thing is you want to create your cuff piece first. In order to create this cuff piece, all it is a piece of black foam that we've been using, the craft foam, but then it's covered in Warbler. And then these again are just craft foam pieces with googly eyes, then covered in Warbler, and then I attached them on to here. There's a couple ways that you can create these gauntlets. You can do it the way I did, where you have this open hole right here so you can just slide your wrist out of. I have a pretty small wrist, so the hole ended up being the right size that I needed it to be. But if you do not have like a small wrist, or your wrist is bigger than this, what you can do is actually have it, because the Warbler is slightly bendable, so you could have the piece connect onto here and it goes like that. This way, the way I did it's the easier way, honestly, in my opinion, because you have a nice in and out. And then inside of here, also, you can't see it on camera, you're not going to be able, you can barely see it in real life, but I did write what wrist each of these things go on. So this one is the right wrist, and I have an arrow going towards the top, so I know this is the top piece, like so. So it just slides on. So then, because his gauntlets do cover up his hands a lot, so I created just this little sleeve right here, and then the other little piece goes attached on with just some plain old Velcro, like so. It's just some black Velcro. So this is just a piece of 4-way stretch fabric. It's some white one that I have laying around for when I do Sailor Saturn. So all you do is just slide your hand into it like so. That way it covers up that top portion of your hand like his does. And then you just slide the gauntlet on over the top of it. And then you take your last little piece and just Velcro it on like so. Do it better than my like lopsidedness of it, and then that way you can move it this down a little bit more so it fits in the same pattern piece as well. So the only side con is like you can kind of see right here the Velcro, and that's also because it's coming off on my piece. And attaching the Velcro, I just used some liquid stitching onto here. You can always use thinner Velcro. This is just what I had lying around at the time when I was creating this. So I would suggest using like the little round small ones that you can find at Joann's and whatnot. And how I got these colors. So for the majority of the objects, for the gauntlet, for the brown, I used the Liquitex, I think, yeah, burnt sienna. Right here, you can't see it because my ring light's so bright. But this is burnt sienna. This is about $7 a piece. I use this for all the brown on it, and because I wanted this brown, these browns to match, I ended up getting just, I think it's like, it's the $1 or the 99-cent ones that you find at Hobby Lobby, in sienna brown, burnt sienna as well. The one that was the closest to this color right here, since I painted this one first. I found the closest one, and I did a acrylic dye. And how you do acrylic dye is you just take some hot water, you pour in your acrylic paint, and you pour in a little bit of salt, you stir it around, and you dip in this until you get it the color that you want. And then I ended up taking like an old pillowcase. I would, and then like I washed it off. So in the sink I washed these pieces off, same with the straps right here. Washed it off, threw it in like the pillowcase, tied it up, and I threw it in the dryer, so that way it will seal the paint on to here. And as you can see, it covers it up very well. You can't really even see the white. It does have like a little bit of like unevenness in like the seams and stuff where the paint didn't exactly adhere to it. But this is what I liked. This is what I did, and this basically covers up everything anyway. You just needed it just for this top portion of your hand. So there's that. The other one that I used for this the belt piece right here, it is the also Liquitex. This one is unbleached titanium. It's this kind of beige color right here, and I like the color of it, so that's what I used. And then for these little canisters and all the gray parts, I actually bought another type of paint. I don't know where it's at, but it was a silver paint, and I didn't like how bright it was, so I ended up taking some paint that I already had, which was like, again, it's the acrylic paint that's like 99 cents in like gunmetal grade. That was too dark, so I added in a little bit of white paint in as well, mixed it together to get this color right here. And then because it came out matte, and I did not like that, I just used a little bit of glaze on top of it to have a shine to it, just a slight shine. And you can see on the back I did it as well. For the harness, you can't really see it on here. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit. You still can't really see it. It's more, I'll probably post a picture. So these again are just the googly eyes with the acrylic on it, with the Worbla on it. So you want to make sure you prime your Worbla with, as always, with wood glue. I used about 3 layers of wood glue on this, and then I painted it with the same gunmetal gray and white mixture that I created. And then with this one, for the little grates on here, I just used I just used the actual gunmetal gray color for that, and just painted in, so it had like a little bit of shading. You can go in and age the armor how much you want. I just personally didn't want to age it because I believe UA would clean these uniforms so much that they would never get dirty or whatever, like really age. So that's why I left mine pretty clean and pretty solid colored. Alright, so for the straps, as you can see, there are some straps right here that connect into these pieces. So again, this is just a 4-way stretch fabric right here that I use the same acrylic dye on. Again, it's connected right up here with a little bit of Velcro and these little buckles that are on the belt as well. I found that I didn't actually need these. I just used them to keep everything in place. Inside of here is polyfill, but you can also use batting if you don't want it so puffy. And I think I might remake this so it isn't so puffy, because it does kind of catch right here and you can see it right there. And I don't really like that very much from the side, how you can see that. And then these pieces are just some craft foam and some Warbler that I cut out. I measured out the distance, how long the strap was, and I kind of just divided it. And did some flat pieces on. They usually can get like a little bit more creative. You can kind of make it like a three-dimensional shape. Again, I might end up doing that later on when I remake this portion, but that's pretty much it. And then I just used some contact cement, I believe, contact cement on this, and some E6000 to just glue these on. And then the last bit is the little neck strap regulator. I think that's his regulator. So for this part, it's just foam and Warbler. To attach it, I have Velcro on one side. So as you can see, I have, if I flip it over, you can actually see what it looks like. So I ended up just kind of hitting this like against my throat, so it's shaped to like the neck, like to my neck. And then on one side, I just glued it on with some liquid stitch and like some contact cement. And then this side, I just add on some Velcro on both sides, so I can adjust it. So like if I want it looser, I can have it looser. If I want it tighter, I can have it tighter. And this actually helps with the unevenness of like my collar, because it is like a little bit big on one side. So when I have like tight, it kind of pulls it all together. But yours shouldn't break if you don't have like 20,000 pounds on it. So as you can see, it's just brown. I added these stripes on, and then I painted them brown so it had like a leather look to it. And then these I always meant to go in and like age it just to have this. You can see the lines in here, but there are lines. And then there's just a belt buckle right here that connects everything to it. And as you can see, mine fell off, so I just had them attached on like so. It was just attached like that. The Warbler, Pearly White Warbler, isn't strong enough to keep it on, from what I am seeing. So my suggestion, if you're using Pearly Warbler, if you're using Black Warbler, I think you'll be fine, because I know Black Warbler is like pretty strong. So I would recommend either way, if you want, drill a hole. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to drill a hole through the top up here just to slide the connector through. And that way it can't fall off anymore. It's stuck on here. And again, this just fits on your waist. Alright, so if you have any questions about any of this, please leave them down below in the comment section, and I will get to them and I'll explain as much as I can to you. And I probably will do an updated version of this at some point, because I do need to update it already, at least this portion. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be doing a work log for his fantasy outfit here soon, so keep your eyes out open for that. And if you like these videos, please like them and comment and subscribe to see more of them in the future. And that's it. Bye.